This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV. With me, all the way from Cairns, I've got Mr. Peter Fury. How are you, Peter?
Very well, Coogan, thank you.
How long have you been out there now, Peter?
Well, I came here just before the New Year to set up the camp and everything, so I came here before Christmas, so on and off I've been here a while, but we've been, obviously Tyson's come over, we've got HUGHIE here, so we've been in camp now. The training was, the first day was on the 6th of January, that's when the camp started.
Okay. How does it compare with the camp out in Belgium?
The camp in Belgium was just as good. It was a very good, strict camp. The difference with here, though, is the scenery is nicer. The air, the weather. When you're getting up early in the morning at 7 o'clock, it's the weather does play a part. Instead of getting up in sun, because the Belgian weather is the same weather as England. It's like it's wet and it's dismal in the mornings. Here, it's a different ball game. It's 12, 14s. Early in the morning, so it's perfect for training. So on that scale, it's a lot better. Plus the boys, they like it here. There's a lot of walks to go. There's the beaches, obviously. There's a lot more happening here. They're not totally shut off from the rest of the world. It's better.
One place to start. You've recently announced the signing of Fast Eddie Chambers. Just talk to me a little bit about how this come about, Peter.
Yeah, he was in camp with us, and he was very impressed with the camp we had. He said he's been to a lot of camps over the years, and he's been everywhere in the world training, and he'd never seen anything like the camp and the instructions that was given. The way it's full on. Even in the sparring, where they're stopping and starting, he really liked our methods of training. So, he spoke to me, and he spoke to me about a few personal issues he had back home, and he seemed a very nice guy. And I just said, if you need any help, I said, you're welcome to come back whenever. So it started from there, and then when he went home, he kept in touch with us, and he said, would you be interested in training me full time? He said, like you suggested when we was in Belgium. I said, absolutely. I said, no problem. So that's how it all started. So we actually agreed way before Christmas. And I just said to him, I said, look, just relax and take the time off. I think you asked me as well in the Blue Water about signing, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
So we was talking around then. We'd already had some form of agreement then. Anything can happen, so I just said, look, I said, have a think about it. I said, because it's a big decision to make. I said, I don't want to announce anything. I said, unless you're absolutely sure. So I said, I said, if you're still in the same frame of mind, I said, then of course we'll do it. I said, but you're definitely welcome here. I said, we look forward to having you. So that's how it started.
How old is Eddie at the minute? He'd be 30 or 31, wouldn't he?
He's 31.
31. I mean, he's had a career as such. I think he's had 40 odd fights, hasn't he?
He had 36 and lost 4.
Right. Okay. So he, what do you feel like you can actually do for him at this stage of his career, Peter?
Well, it's. I think what it is with a lot of these fighters, they're badly managed, they're badly looked after, and. We have to see. Maybe, you just don't know. It's all down to the fighter. Maybe there's nothing I can do. I don't know. But there's one thing for sure. We can put him in the best of condition. We can give him a lot more strategies, and we can look after him more properly. And his diet, his food, his physical shape. He's never really been in top condition, this Eddie Chambers. So basically, I think there's a lot more to do for him yet, and he's still a young heavyweight. He's not one of these that's been punched around. He's got good boxing ability. But the lad, the fellow has been on a downer. There's no point saying otherwise. Money issues and everything else. So that's where we are. So basically, coming over to me, I took all them problems away from him. So he's got no more financial problems. He's got no more looking after himself because his water, he gets food, everything's on time, and everything's done. And that's the difference with coming over here and joining with us, because everything outside of boxing is taken care of. His finances, his money, arranging his fights, the right diet, the right training. He's basically told what to do, and then all he's got to do is rely on one thing, and that's fighting and doing the best he can. And I think, all going well, he should excel.
Will there be the possibility of Eddie fighting on Tyson and Hughie's bills in the future?
Yeah, 100%. We would have liked to get him out on the 15th of February on this copper box, but obviously it's too soon, because he's only been here since his first training day was Monday. So as soon as time after that, the next available show he will be on. So sometime, I think probably towards the end of March he'll be on, Eddie. And then after that he'll fight on all the undercards. He'll fight on Tyson and Hughie, or just Hughie and him. But he's going to be busy, Eddie Chambers, this year.
And is he happy about having his fights over here as well?
Yeah, he is. He's he can't wait. He's excited. He's only been here training a week, and he's loving it. He's blending in well. And he knows what he's got to work on. We've discussed what his weaknesses are, and we're working towards that. Already, he's been here a week. He's been here a week now altogether. So we've put him on the right food, given him the right training. And I can tell you when he come here, I know it's hard to believe it, but I'll explain why. He came here at 14 stone 3 pounds. We weighed him today. And we've took a before and after picture, which later on we'll show the public. 14 stone 3 is now weighing 15 stone. So this goes to show you where he's been on vegan diets, on the wrong food. As soon as this guy's had the right food and the right supplements and everything else to go with it, he's shot back up to his own natural weight. So this is a guy that's going to walk around anyway, around 15 and a half, 16 stone. So he's been dieting himself down. Basically almost starving himself. So it just goes to show you, with 1 week of eating and training, right, look where he's at. He's coming back up to his natural weight anyway. And there's no fat on him, there's no fat on him at all. So he's already filling out. So the time I thought it was going to take him back up to heavyweight it's going to be no time, actually, because he's already at 15 stone now, and he's only been here a week. He's putting on weight by the day.
How does he get on with Tyson and Hughie?
Fantastic, they're always having a laugh, and they've done 3 or 4 spars already together, and they're going very well. They're enjoying it, we're enjoying him, and he's enjoying us. So it's all rubbing off well. And this is the thing about having fighters in your camp, and having them join you. You've got to get on with them. And with him being over with us in Belgium and doing the sparring, it's not like new to him. You already knew what to expect, because he knows Tyson and Hughie anyway.
Moving on, Peter, to Tyson. Obviously, it was recently announced that it was a bit of a shock, really, that Tyson and Hughie, will now fight on Frank Warren shows. Can you just clarify the whole setup with what the thing is with the deal with Frank, Peter?
The deal with Frank is exactly what's been announced. They put forward to us a deal. We said, okay, we'll speak with Mick Hennessy. So we spoke to Mick Hennessy, and he was happy with it. So we verbally had an agreement to say, if what it is in writing, then we're on. So basically, the contracts have come over. They're still with us. We're hoping to return them back later today. And and that's it. So providing everything is as it's said, then this will go ahead, no problem. The contract's with Mick, and it's with the lawyers, so they're going over it. And it's a 3-fight deal. It's 2 fights, and then CHISORA in the summer, in June. So that's where we are.
How is Mick Hennessy involved if he's fighting on like a Queensbury or Frank Warren bill? Where's Mick's involvement in this?
Well, Mick's got a full involvement because the show's going to be co-promoted with Hennessy Sports.
Right, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first two shows, or the first show, I think that's Box Nation, but the main one, which is Aura, that's co-promoted.
Okay. Not that anything obviously suitably would go wrong with it, but are you not putting all your eggs in the basket on, for that Chisora fight? If he's going to have 2 fights before that, do you understand what I'm saying?
No, not really. Just rephrase that again. How do you mean?
Well, okay, so you obviously this deal that you've done with, or you're doing with Queensberry or Frank Warren, it is all dependent on like a finale of like the 3-fight deal against Chisora. So are we assuming that in the next 2 fights that Tyson have, that they'll be kind of like warm-up fights?
Well, it's hard to say, look, anything can happen in boxing, Chisora's up against a decent opponent as well on the 15th. Chisora might fall over. So, God only knows, this is boxing. So, I'll tell you what we're after, they're not going to be world beaters for sure, but he's going to have, what I want for Tyson, because he's been out the ring so long, I need a tough, durable opponent. So we're not going to get some idiot who's just going to fall over from a right hand. So we need the rounds for Tyson. So we're looking for somebody who can take him 8, 10, 12 rounds. So we have to see. But nothing's been picked as opponent yet, because there's no point until these contracts are ironed out, because like I said, anything can happen in contracts. If things are not what we've seen or we can't reach agreement, things cannot happen. But we're 99% there anyway. So like I said, once the contracts are signed, then we'll start looking for opponents.
I suppose the thing I'm trying to say to you is, if something was to go wrong, say in Chisora's fight or Fury's fight, does that affect your whole deal?
Well, it does affect the deal as far as the Chisora fight.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because if either one loses, then there's no point in having that fight, is there? So you're absolutely right. But it doesn't really affect where we're going, because the way we're looking at it is there's options there to fight. Tyson's ready to fight. We're all one unit, and basically they've offered a good deal. And if that deal's what it appears to be on paper, then we're on. The same as with anybody else. If they've got any big deals to offer, the same as Schaefer with Tyson, with Wilder. If anybody's got any problem, they want to put pen to paper and they want to really fight Tyson, this is the way to do it. And this is an example where Frank Warren's approached us. He's offered us a certain amount of money. We're happy with that amount of money. And we're happy to fight Chisora or anybody else in the world, because he's ready, Tyson, to fight anybody. So all this talk you hear on the Twitters and all this calling out, this and that, I can tell you, anybody's got any serious intention, Tyson will fight, and so will we. So nobody's holding Tyson back. We're not cherry picking or anything like this. So that's obvious with the people that we've offered to fight and hasn't come off. So Tyson's ready to fight anybody. So anybody that's serious needs to do what Frank Warren's done.
We all know that from obviously Tyson had a frustrating year last year, and it's no secret that the biggest payday available to Tyson was this fight with David Haye, which obviously didn't materialise. Is it hard, do you think, at the moment for Tyson to be motivated, having that big fight with David Haye snatched away from him, and he's coming into this year not really knowing at the moment where his path is?
Well, hopefully, we've had good discussions with Mick Hennessy, and it's we're looking at this fight with Chisora. We'll probably be, we're almost sure we can get it for a mandatory position with the WBO. So we have to see to formalise that, but everybody's confident that can be the case. So he hasn't really gone behind too much, because at the end of the year, all going well, and he gets past Chisora, then he will be mandatory. He will be mandatory for that title, for Vladimir's title. So we have to wait and see. But that's where we are. And as far as being down, of course it was. It played an effect on him. He's been training a year for David Haye, and obviously that fight never transpired in the end. So it did have an effect on him. But he's had a rest over the Christmas, and he's back, and he's put it behind him, and he's onwards and upwards. But I can tell you, he's come back with he's got a good drive with him. He's eager. He's training hard, just as hard, and not harder than what he's ever done before. And he's in a good place. And to be honest, being here in Canada helped him, to be fair, because he loves it here anyway. So he's an happy chap, he is, Tyson, at the moment.
Okay. I'm going to name you 3 fighters now, Peter. I just want you to tell me what you think of the potential fight between the Fire and Fury, and how likely it is to happen. So the first one is Lucas Big Daddy Brown.
The fight's got to be unlikely for Tyson. I'll tell you the reason why. Because Tyson's so far ahead. Look, we're looking at CHISORA now, and then he's in a mandatory position. Lucas Brown, anything's possible, but obviously this is more of a domestic fight. Tyson's above that. So, and to be honest with you, Brown is better than a warm-up fight. So the way we see it is we're in a crossroads position, because there's no money with Brown anyway, and the thing is there's no titles at stake. We're not gonna just shove Brown in there, because he's a risk for no reward, because there's no money, there's no logical sense in Tyson fighting Brown. To be honest, if any fight was to happen, it'd be similar with Hughie versus Brown more than Tyson versus Brown. That's really where they're at. Brown's in front of Hughie, obviously, but on experience levels and his record. But there's not much of a bridge gap in between them. But from Brown to Tyson, in my view, there is. One's on a world level, one's not.
Okay. The next name is Deontay Wilder.
Right. Both sides again. The TVs they wouldn't pay for the fight. That's a fight that we'd want more than anybody. We'd like that fight, to be honest. Tyson's up for that fight, and so are we. So we'd be desperate to make it. So I think Tyson's very disappointed that fight couldn't be made. We tried from our side. Sky didn't want to entertain it. They said it's not a pay-per-view fight. Also, Sky's put that in writing to say it's not a pay-per-view fight in their opinion, so they're not touching it. So that's where we are with that fight. Schaefer made some big comments. They've got all this money, so we asked them to pay for the fight. And apparently Schaefer, he spoke to Mick Hennessy and said that maybe it's a fight further down the line when one gets the title. So that's as much as I can tell you with that fight. But it definitely isn't happening right now.
Okay. The last name, Antonio Tarver. Only due to some comments that I see on his Twitter the other day. I just wanted to know what your thoughts were about that.
I don't really think anything. Every fighter, including Brown, I like Brown, by the way. I think he's a talent for the future. If he gets a proper trainer and he gets stuck into it, he can achieve as good as what the next man can achieve in boxing. Antonio Tarver, look, Tyson's the man to fight at the moment. And the reason I say that is because of all the offers and everybody's interested in fighting Tyson. They see Tyson as the next big paycheck. So you can't blame them, because that's where it's at, because Tyson's a name in heavyweight boxing. To get past Tyson, they see a doorway and a window to a world title. So this is why they want to fight Tyson. So I'm not really interested in what people say or think. We've got our own route, and we'll take the fighters who what the best deal for us can be, where we're at the time.
So you didn't really take any notice of him calling him out the other day several times on Twitter? You didn't take any notice of that?
No, it doesn't mean shit to me. It doesn't mean anything to Tyson either. As a matter of fact, Tyson keeps inboxing them all and tells them to keep offering him out all the time. They don't give a shit, Tyson. I know he spoke to Brown and said, call me whatever you want, get on with it, PR it up, he said. He said, put as much as you can out there. He said, good luck to you. You see, Tyson, he has got ultimate respect for the fighters, because he's a fighter himself. The persona he puts out is another story. But really, from fighter to fighter, Tyson's okay. It's not what he says, is not what he feels in himself, So he's quite happy with the bravado, Tyson. He just goes along with the flow, but that's where he is. So no, he doesn't give a shit about being called out or anything else. It's like, doesn't affect him no more than waging
In your heart of hearts, Peter, do you believe that this year Tyson Fury will fight for a world title?
Yeah, there's a good chance because I don't think he'll fight for a world title. I think if he gets past CHISORA and he's mandatory for the WBO, excuse me, I don't think he'll be fighting blood this year. Because Vladimir's got voluntaries, he's got mandatories, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. However, he could get a crack at the winner of Stavern Ariola. Especially if Stavern wins, that's a possible fight. So there's a good chance he could get a title shot there. But as a one for Vladimir, doubtful. And if the Stavern fight doesn't happen, then he's probably into 015 before he gets a shot.
Who wins that fight for you out of Ariola and Stavern?
Stavern. I think it'll be a better fight this time.
Yeah.
I think Ariola will be better in shape. But I think Ariola only knows one way to fight, and that's coming in. And that's the worst thing you can do against somebody like Stavern, because Stavern's short, compact, he throws quick shots, and I don't know how the hell Ariola's going to steam into Stavern and think he's going to rock his boat, because he's a better fighter than that Stavern. So I rate Stavern as a very world-class heavyweight. I like Ariola, to be honest. I just think he's not going to beat Stavern with what I've seen in the past. So I pick Stavern to win.
Okay. The topic of Hughie Fury and Anthony Joshua has been risen again this week. What are your thoughts on that fight, Peter?
We have no interest in it. Look, we wish Anthony Joshua all the very best. He's an Olympic gold medalist, and we'd like him to do big things in boxing. Look, if that fight was absolutely put on our toes, then obviously there's not going to be a problem. Hughie's going to fight anybody, and whatever happens, happens. But it's not a fight that we'd want. Bearing in mind, Hughie is 19. We have to look at the way he's progressing, and that's it. Joshua's more Tyson's age, so Hughie's got a lot of developing to do. If that fight was to happen tomorrow, or because he's had 3 fights and Hughie's had 12, then let him in. I ain't got a problem with the fight happening right now. But as these progress, Anthony Joshua is a world-class fighter, and he will be. So, by the time the two progress in their careers at the end of the year, I don't really see the point in that fight, to be honest. So, it's not a fight that I'm looking at for Hughie at all. For them reasons.
When I interviewed Eddie Hearn recently, he said that he would like to make that fight in the summer. So not much chance of that then, by the sounds of it, from you.
It just depends. It depends what he's talking about and the money he's offering. So we'll see.
Like I said, you've just basically saying that it depends on the situation, the circumstances, the deal on the table, whether that fight is even possible for the summer.
Yeah, look, it's not going to be, because look, Hughie's 19. If that was for a world title, Hughie will go straight in. We're not going to please other people. This kid's 19 and one's 25-year-old. So we're not retarded to think, Hughie's got fantastic potential, but he's a kid. So it's alright Eddie saying, we'll try and get it now while he's a kid, and take some kind of an advantage from that. That isn't going to happen. If there's a title on the line, or he's talking some very serious money, Eddie, and I'll put my son in with him tomorrow. So basically that's where we're at. So, we're going to look, and Hughie's going to be built up properly. And when Hughie fights any of these fights, any of these, what do you call them, a rivalry fight or whatever, my son's going to be absolutely ready. He's not going to get in there where he's got 50% of his man strength, because he's only 19. People need to realise Hughie is 19 years of age, just turned at 6'6". He's a kid. They're likening him to Anthony Joshua when Joshua was a full set man, and he's got man strength. There's a big difference from a young heavyweight. We're not talking of lightweights where they grow to 5'8", 5'9". They're fully developed at 17, 18-year-old. A heavyweight, we all know they're definitely not. Hughie is still physically a child in a man's body. So that's what we got at the moment. He's got to develop the same way as Tyson. Let's look 19-year-old. He was nowhere near as much as developed as Hughie was. He was a big kid, but he was just a flabby big kid. He was nothing like he is today. The difference of Tyson being 19 to as he is as 25 is a whole world of difference. So you can try and understand where I'm coming from. So unless there's a title on the line or there's some serious money involved, there's no point, because it's a very big disadvantage to my son, and that's not an experience or anything being any better than him, because I don't see that being the case. I see it as more or less of a nature thing, where one's a full set man and one's not. So that's the only difference I see why we're not really interested in that fight at the moment.
Like I said, Hughie had a productive year last year. Tyson a bit mixed. Are you just pleased that you've got your date now for the 15th? That like I said, you're putting yourself through a training camp that's going to avail to an actual having a fight after what happened last year.
Yeah, we're happy to be getting going and fighting again and moving forward. I think we best put 013 behind us, and I think 014 is going to be a productive year. We're working closely with Mick, and we got some good things going on. And hopefully this will Box Nation, it comes off, and we just get everything signed, done and sealed, which is going to be this week. And all systems ahead. That's where we are.
All systems go. When do you return from Cairns, Peter?
We'll just return in, the day before.
Oh, that okay. So a while yet.
Well, yeah, we'll come back on the 14th of February. We'll have the fight and return back to Cairns on the 16th and resume training camp. So we'll just be in and out, really.
All right. Well, listen, Peter. Thank you very much for talking to us.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Get you on the phone because, like I said, we don't. We tend to see you at shows and things like that, but there was a few things I wanted to ask you. So, like I said, thanks for your time today.
No problem, and get well soon.
Yeah, hopefully this voice will be alright by the 15th anyway, but Peter, women love it though, when you're talking to women on the phone, they think it's attractive, so,
Yeah, it's a husky voice and that, they love it, don't they? Something different.
apparently so. Alright,
Yeah.
well listen, like I said, have a good camp, and we'll see you when you're back here in London on the 14th or the 15th.
No problem, Coogan. All the very best to you. Happy New Year.
You too. Thank you very much. This is Coogan Cassius with Peter Fury for IFL TV. Thank you very much.